Hey, Joe, want to go on a wandering road trip?
Oh, that sounds fun. Where are we going?
All right, well, we're going on a road trip with two of our friends, not just two friends, two of our friends. They start off in Idaho, then they go to Hot Springs, they go to Burley, they went to Boise, they went to Portland for our favorite, our I guess we call it our Super Bowl, FinCon. That's my Super Bowl. I don't know about yours. No?
I agree,
All right.
100%.
Crater Lake, then they went to
We go back to Crater Lake.
we do go back to Crater Lake, but somewhere else too, Painted Hills and Craters of the Moon National Park. So we get to talk about another national park. Very excited about that. So are you ready?
Okay, I'm going to say it. Let's get this show on the road.
Boom.
Ready for adventure? From vacation to staycation, and from the mountains to the beach. This is the Stacking Adventures podcast.
Welcome back to the Stacking Adventures podcast. Every adventure has a story, and this is where we head around the world with our adventure community, and we hear yours. We're all stacking memories we'll remember forever. She's Crystal.
And I'm Joe Saul-Sehy. He's Joe. I'm Joe. He's Joe.
Saul-Sehy. It's by the seashore. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, my good buddy?
I am fantastic, buddy. And we have two more good buddies. I've known these people for, how long have you known these people?
Since the first I think Miranda was at the first FinCon. Wow. So since 2011.
I have
Time
known.
flies when you're having fun.
Miranda, I can't remember the first time Miranda and I met. That's wild. We'll have to ask her. But
Yeah,
Jason and I were at a USAA conference together in San Antonio, maybe 2014, 2015. I don't know. You ready to meet them?
Yes.
Let's do that. Let's bring them out. Ladies and gentlemen, the stars of today's show. We're going to hear about them wandering together from Idaho to Oregon. It's our good friends, Jason Vitug, and let's get her out here, Miranda Marquis.
Woohoo!
Hello, hello.
Morning, sunshine.
Our whole goal today was to get Miranda up early. That was our whole goal.
And it worked. Oh my God.
That's how you start.
She proved she could do it.
On a Friday.
We could do this. We could do this.
Okay, Miranda, when did you and I first meet? I can't remember.
So I feel like it's going to have to be whenever it was that you first came to FinCon.
The second one.
Yeah, so that's probably when we met, because at that time, it was still when we were doing that dinner with Len Penzo.
Oh, we did.
And so Len and I met the first FinCon in the taxi cab because we shared a cab from the airport. And so then he was like, oh, I've got some people I want to go to dinner with. Come to dinner with me. And then for the next two subsequent years, we had a dinner tradition. And
it was at Len Penzo's dinner that we met in,
I believe, in
Denver.
It would have been in Denver. So yeah, so I believe that you and I have known each other since 2012.
That's crazy. And Jason just a couple of years after. And Jason's been to Texarkana, Crystal. Some of my friends come to Texarkana, Crystal.
It's not a real place. It doesn't sound like a real place.
I was about to say it's an actual destination.
Oh,
I don't believe it.
Is it though?
You're making up words.
I have to say it is, because you get to stand in between two states. That's pretty cool. Them. That's when they get really geeky about like this geography stuff. It's like
Jason got to do his famous jump, his famous jump between two states. Who's done that?
You can come back. We do DC, Maryland, Virginia.
I didn't do a jump, but I have been to the Four Corners.
I don't want to brag, but we have two of the Four Corners here. Jason, your microphone went away.
I'm right here.
There it is.
There it is. We heard.
Yeah. Yep. All right. 3, 2, 1. Back on it. So you guys took this trip. Crystal, what should we ask them about their trip?
Well, let's start with why you two. Why not me? Just kidding.
It's interesting because Miranda and I, we just connect when it comes to traveling and road trips. It's usually just us talking with each other, texting, and she's always inviting me to come over to Idaho. And I'm like, why not? Let me go, And And so Idaho is actually one of my favorite places, and Miranda is one of my favorite people, and it just makes sense. And so we get along really well.
Oh, that's good.
So you get along really well with someone, especially in tight places. That's the best travel partner.
Now, here's the thing. Did Miranda just spit out her coffee?
No, it's just water. It's too early for anything other than water, you guys. I have a whole
Idaho Falls, where Miranda lives, is not a big city. Like Texarkana is not a big city. Flying in there, flying into Texarkana, Jason, is not cheap. I don't know why they charge people so much money to fly in here. It's a wonderful spot.
Yeah, it's a VIP,
but
huh?
I got to believe Idaho Falls, getting there is not the easiest thing.
It's not the easiest thing. There's no direct flight to Idaho Falls. And so whether I'm flying out of Orlando or Newark in Jersey, I always got to do a connection. And that connection is through Denver. And so you're looking at, I think the last few times on average was around $600 to $800 for one way. So like that's without some planning. But that's just been this journey. It was about $600 or so.
Wow. Okay, so let's do the planning.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Miranda could talk about the planning aspect of it. I mean, all I had to do was fly out to Idaho Falls, and she had the whole itinerary.
Yes.
No, yeah, but we're talking about planning to get out there because you use points, didn't you?
Yeah. So I am a big points guy. So what I like to do is travel with my preferred airline, and my preferred airline is United because I have status, and that status affords me most of the time. I try to buy the cheapest fare, and I get upgraded to the first class, or I'm able to upgrade to their premium plus or whatever it's called, or economy plus, and it's a really great deal when it comes to that. I actually was returning from a family cruise in the Caribbean, and then so I docked in Newark. Or Bayonne, and then I flew out to Idaho Falls and was able to use points and things like that to pay it off.
Okay. So that's not bad.
No, but I'm thinking, I just wanted to tell you, Jason, you're very close to having status on this show, like very close. If you do get interviewed today, we'll upgrade you, but I'm not sure yet. It's gotta be good stuff. So you get to Idaho Falls, and what's the plan going to be, Miranda, when Jason gets there? Like, what's the strategery of going from Idaho Falls to Oregon?
I like to show up too and not plan. Good job, Jason.
Yeah. And honestly, and I'm happy to have anybody visit. So come visit, guys. Oh, let's do this.
There's my invite.
Yeah, come visit. Anyway, so we kind of talked about it a little bit, that we could do this road trip, and I just looked at it and I was like, oh, okay, well, what if we take our time? Like, there's this place, Maple Grove Hot Springs, that Jason and I had visited. I mean, I visited more than once, but Jason and I had visited briefly on one of his trips out here. But it was like during spring runoff. And like, if you're in the mountains during spring runoff, the hot springs aren't as hot and they're not as cool. Like, not as cool to be at. That didn't make sense. But like, so I wanted to go and just like, and then stay overnight. It's off the grid. It's this really cool hot springs. It's completely off the grid. Very nice. They've got these stone huts. They have these like yurts. Basically, you're glamping on the side of this reservoir, this river.
Do you have to book it? Do you have to book it ahead of time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you do, because they're usually pretty full up. So yeah, but you know, they recently built a sauna, a wood fired sauna, and so it's just this whole thing. What were you going to say, Jason?
No, I thought like it really is one of my favorite places because it is in a remote location. So you have to drive off. It's in between a valley. And so when Miranda was planning the road trip, she wanted to make sure that was our first place that we were going to stay, because the last time I went there, we only stayed a few hours right before my flight. And this time she's like, we got to get the whole full on experience. We got to do the overnight because you are in the middle of nowhere. You're driving through a canyon, and there's like mountains and a river. There's no Wi-Fi or cell phone service in the area. So it was a really great way to start the road trip because it's more of like a digital detox. We're forced to kind of just be in that moment. And as Miranda mentioned, it was the sauna, it was a wood fire sauna, it was the hot springs. it was magical. And plus the moon was out. So there was like this moonlit like cast like over like this valley, just perfect.
Yeah. And it's completely off grid. So they plan like they're run by geothermal and solar energy. And so they're not, they do have a telephone landline for emergencies. And so whenever I go to those hot springs, I text my son, I'm like, this is the number you have to call if you need to reach me. You have to call this landline. Because
my mom still has a landline.
Yeah, there is no cell service there. There's no cell service. There's no electricity. Well, there is electricity from the solar. So they do have like a little solar farm up there. But like, yeah, there's no cell service. So yeah, it was just absolutely fantastic. And then after that, you guys know Whitney.
Go back.
Oh, let's go back.
Like, so what are you driving? And how long was that first drive, that first leg of the trip?
Yeah, so I have a Subaru Outback Wilderness Edition 2022. My weird flex is that my Subaru Outback Wilderness Edition was the first non-punch sold west of the Rockies. So like that's my weird flex. I love Subaru. They're not paying me for this, but maybe they should. But I love Subaru. And so when I was ready to get a new car, I called their concierge service and they just made sure they had a car delivered to my local dealership for me.
Wow.
So
that is a flex.
Yeah.
You know who I am?
It's a fully loaded car. It's a fully loaded car.
It's a very nice car.
It's a comfortable ride. It has all the bells and whistles. And you can go on a road trip and, hey, look, Mom, my hands are not on the wheel.
It drives itself.
It drives itself.
Interesting. Your mom be like, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. But it definitely has a lot of the bells and whistles. So when you're thinking about a road trip and from one point to the other and hours of driving, that helps. Like, that comfort level
safety
is really important in my mind. Yep. The safety features, the comfort level, and all that definitely works. And it has an awesome Superior radio, like speaker system. So we could do our car karaoke.
Concerts.
Nice. We built a playlist together.
Anyway. That's smart thinking.
I've got just before we move off of Maple Grove, Miranda, you said you got to book ahead of time. So people want to go and they want to be off the grid, which, by the way, just the juxtaposition of being off the grid just before a big digital creator conference is kind of awesome and funny. But about how soon should people book?
Usually like 2 to 3 weeks out is sufficient.
Oh, okay.
But you'll have to look and see. Yeah, you'll have to see what's available. Sometimes it's a little bit harder because it sort of depends because like through the summer and early fall, they have these they usually have music on the weekends. Just the weekend before we went, they had just finished like a strings festival where they had
wow.
Yeah, actually it was funny. I found out later one of my friends was played his violin there. Like 2 days before we rolled up, and then not the friend Jason, a different friend of mine that plays violin. Anyway, so but yes, and then and they had guitars and all sorts of things. But so they have these different events, and then they're always closed every Wednesday for cleaning, and it's run by what they do is they have volunteer staff that commit to a season or two. And they get to live there, do the thing, stay there, and they help clean things. They help build, do repairs, do all the things. So it's it's a really cool experience.
And by the way, for our ventures that like slow travel, my parents did this, Miranda. They went to a place called Ichnetucknee, which is near Jacksonville, Florida, and they were state park helpers. My dad just spent one afternoon a week mowing the entryway lawn. And then if people had questions, they could come by my parents' camper. So they got to know everybody that was at the campground and they got to stay there for most of the summer. They had a blast doing that. It was super, super for them. Speaking of super,
that would be a fun retirement thing too, to volunteer. Like you have places to stay throughout the.
Oh, they thought it was great, Crystal, because they paid nothing to stay.
Yeah,
they kept busy. They had a little bit of responsibility, but nothing big. It was literally 1 day a week. They had both had a quote job. Speaking of wild and fun, so you go to Boise and you stay in kind of an iconic building. Tell us about this.
Yeah. So our friend Whitney Hansen, and I think you guys know Whitney as well.
Oh yeah. We talked to her.
Yeah. Our friend Whitney Hansen, she has Idaho's famous flower pot, and she's got her Airbnb, and it's shaped like a big old flower pot. And it was very cool. It's outside of Burley, Idaho. So just so you know, the drive from Idaho Falls to Boise is 4 hours. We did it in 3.5 days. So just FYI, we took our time.
Wait a minute, 3.5 days after the hot springs?
No, from Idaho Falls. Yeah. So
good. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, because we drove 2 hours to get to Maple Grove, which is a little bit opposite the direction of Boise. And so we stayed overnight there, but then we wanted to stay at the flower pot. So then that's another night.
Yeah,
and then we camped. And so yeah.
Wait, pause.
You want to talk about slow travel after the flower pot, but the flower, after the flower pot.
Okay. When you go and you see the flower pot, because when we had the real estate show, Crystal and I, we did talk to Whitney about the making of the flower pot. But I just got to wonder what the first impression is, Jason. Like, you're going to stay at this iconic looking flower pot, but when you finally see it, what was your first thought?
It was amazing. I mean, like when you're driving and you see it off the distance, I mean, it sticks out like a sore thumb, or it sticks out as a big flower pot. It's all flat, flat land. And then all of a sudden from the distance on the road, you see this flower pot, and is on one side is a garden. So you see all these beautiful flowers, and so like you're kind of welcomed into that space. And when you stare at it, I was like, oh my God, I'm staring inside a pot. It's one of those like surreal moments, and it's kind of kitschy, and it's kind of, but like just walking in and seeing the space and how it was designed, especially since I followed Whitney's journey. That was like the really cool thing, like following the planning, the pitching to Airbnb, winning the contest, then the planning, the building. I mean, it was amazing just to kind of see it in person. And so I was that guy touching the flower pot. So the moment we got there, I actually touched the walls of the flower pot. And I was like, this is so cool. And of course, we explored every single area of it, got up on the roof deck. So there's a little patio. So like I was joking with Miranda, it's like, there you go. It's like, we got planted in the pot. Now we got to grow or something.
But yeah, we did. We had bought some. So one of the things we did for this trip is like we went to the grocery store. We had a cooler, and so we had decided we bought some wine and some charcuterie snacks, and we had dinner at sunset on the top of the flower pot. So
beautiful.
Yeah, it was
awesome.
Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
You know what's interesting about staying in a place like that is that I don't think, talking to Whitney, the price difference of staying there versus staying at some, boring middle of the road place was that different. And yet I got to imagine that's a stop you're going to remember forever.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've stayed in a lot of Airbnbs, and it's not a huge difference. It's not a huge difference in price. So it's very cool.
Did you have to book it out a long time ahead of time? Does she have that pretty well booked up?
Yeah. Yeah, she does. We did have to, well, I messaged her ahead of time and just said, hey, like, here's some, we're thinking about doing this. Here's some dates. And she kind of looked, and she's just like, if you move fast, like,
you could grab this day.
You could grab this date. And I was like, okay.
We originally wanted to do 2 nights.
Yeah.
Because we had this whole idea that we're going to do this road trip and create content and be able to talk about the things we want to talk about. And so we thought that was going to be a perfect place to stay 2 nights. But because the flower pot is in high demand, we were only able to get 1 night. So that was kind of one of the key things. So for those interested in wanting to stay the flower pot, you really got to plan ahead of time. It is some ways in terms of anything else, right? So
yeah, it's not close to big city.
Yeah.
I don't even know where you fly into. Well, I guess Boise.
Idaho Falls or Boise, yeah. Yeah,
Idaho Falls or Boise. It's about 2 hours from Idaho Falls, about 3 hours from Boise. So about 2.5 hours from Boise. It's not quite halfway between the two. Whatever, hour and a half. Whatever. I don't know.
Did you meander?
We meander. We meander.
Yeah. Plan on meandering.
Yeah.
Did you meander then to Boise? Was Boise next?
No. So then the next morning, the next day, well, so I actually had class that morning, and Whitney was kind enough to let us do a late checkout so that I could attend my classes. And so I attended my classes in the morning. Jason is a wonderful travel partner because Jason loaded everything up in the car, got it all squared away, like did the thing, and was ready to roll out when I was done with classes. And he also drove most of the things so that I could work in the car. So
nice.
Thank you, Jason.
What a great pair.
So, but yeah, no. And then we went kayaking. There's this place called Blue Heart Springs, and I had wanted to see it for a hot minute. And, and you look at the pictures from above, and I'm like, whoever had taken these pictures took them, definitely climbed up the side of the hill or used a drone, because we cannot get these kinds of pictures from like down where we were at in the kayaking. So anyway, so I have an inflatable kayak. And so, but it's relatively new. And so it did not come with kayak paddles, but I had raft paddles. So that's problem one, guys.
Big problem. Okay.
It worked out fine when I took the kayak out on the Yeah, check it out. It worked out fine when I took the kayak out on the lake. The little raft paddles fine out on the lake, not a problem. But the river is a different story. So anyway,
current.
Yes, yeah. And
can I chime in here, Miranda?
What was that?
Can I chime in here because?
Yeah, tell us about the struggle.
So I love the outdoors. I love hiking. I love adventure. I love going out there in nature. And so that's something that me and Miranda share. And so obviously growing up in Jersey, we don't get access to that many of the outdoorsy stuff. And so Miranda has all that in Idaho. I think that's why I like Idaho a lot. So she made sure when she planned the road trip from Idaho Falls to Portland that we were going to integrate a lot of these different aspects. And so part of that was I wanted to go canoeing, rafting, kayaking, what have you. And so she had that inflatable canoe or raft. I don't even know what's a
kayak. It's a kayak.
And so we're going to do the Snake River. And so the Snake River is really cool, right? So I played, and you got to excuse me, if you're from Oregon, I tend to say Oregon.
You can't say that.
Yes, I know. I've been taught. But so one of the really big things is being able to do the Snake River. I think that was really cool to actually take the canoe, kayak into it and be able to go to this Blue Hot Springs area. So when you're going downstream, it's really easy, right? It's like, just kind of let the tide carry you. But then we go to this spot that Miranda had wanted to go for a really long time. And it was actually pretty nice. It's kind of off the beaten river path. We got there, we got to enjoy, and we dipped our feet into the water. We didn't jump in.
The water is crystal clear. I've been showing for people with us on YouTube. I've been showing the pictures, and you can see the bottom from the pictures.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
In the bottom, there are bubbles. So there's an actual springs, and you could see the bubbling of the water like through that crystal clear. So it is really nice, and it's beautiful. But like part of that story is like, okay, once we go downstream, well, guess what? You have to go upstream to get back to the boat launch area. And so can I tell you the struggle of paddling upstream with raft paddles, where it was like this really small.
Not great.
It was not great. Yeah. And so through that process, it was fascinating because I kept saying like, oh yeah, you know what? Like, you know, this is a life lesson. It's just, we're all going downstream. We might as well turn around and let it carry us, or we fight against it and struggle to death back. That's where we started. And Miranda got to a point where she looked at me and said, I wonder how deep this river is, because I'm ready to jump out and just walk.
Yeah.
Like drag the raft back to the boat launch. And of course we were still pretty far off, and it was extremely exhausting and it was frustrating. But once we got to the boat launch, you know what happened? It's like, oh wow, we reached a achievable goal, and and
like don't know how
afterwards.
Yeah, but during.
So, do you think the kayak has been put away properly yet, Jason? It has not.
Of course
it is
not.
still in my garage. It is not in its proper place. It is just still kind of folded up in a pile in my garage. So it was wet. So we didn't want to like fold it up into its bag.
Just a big wet mess. Yeah.
Yeah. So we let it. Yeah. So we let it all dry out, and then it got kind of wet the next morning because we were camping and we left it out overnight. And then we got to Boise, and anyway, it's a long story, but I just never bothered to put it away. And so when we got home, I just pulled it out, threw it in the garage, and it's still just in the garage.
Jason Adventure, Andy, our friend Andy Wong from Inspired Money,
Andy,
joining us. And Andy says he can't believe, Jason, that you had to go all the way to Idaho to camp. There's great hiking in New Jersey.
There is great hiking. I've done a number of hikes in Jersey, but there are none like the ones out west. So I do have to defer that. Out west,
I thought you were going to
pretty great.
I thought you were going to say, but you don't get to hike them with Miranda. They're upstream.
All
right, let's spend a second on Boise before we go to the halfway gear of the day. But
we did camp at Three Island Crossing in Glens Ferry, Idaho, before we got to Boise. So after we got done kayaking, then we went to Glens Ferry and we did camp in the car.
Yeah, and that's
so. Did you see
in a Subaru?
Yeah,
in the Subaru. Yeah. You just put down the seats.
So
okay,
we
this is a problem.
We decided we wanted. We decided we wanted to do the whole experience, and part of that is that Miranda has gone car camping before. I've done car camping. For those of you who do not know what car
I've
camping
never done
is, it's like you're camping in a camping spot and you're sleeping inside your car. So instead of going out there and pitching a tent.
Thanks for the definition.
Yeah. You did it.
You camp in your car?
Well, it's interesting because most people don't realize that, when you're car camping, it's not just you driving your car to a site and then you pitching a tent. So it's you are staying inside your car and you're sleeping in that vehicle. And so we did car camping after the kayaking before we made it to Boise. And that in itself was an experience because I've gone car camping. I've done van life experiment, spent over 30 days. And I realized something about the van life experiment, sleeping in a Toyota Sienna many nights, is that it can get really hot. So you need certain things to keep yourself cool. So imagine two grown adults sleeping.
And it got to 100 degrees that day in Glens Ferry. Thank you.
Well, sleeping in an inflatable mattress. Like we pulled back the car. So it's late at night. We pull like the back seat. We're able to inflate the mattress. And then we're now in the car and we have the windows up. I'm laying there next to Miranda and I'm going, it is so hot. It's just my Filipino island blood. I can take heat and humidity, but in that vehicle, it was just so hot. And so I look at Miranda and I'm like, feel my neck. I am sweating. It's not sweat. I am still sweating profusely through my neck. And so she goes, it's fine. It's not too bad. And she's like huddled in her, like underneath the covers. I'm like, how are you not hot? And there's that point where I'm going, I want to open the windows, but if I open the windows, there are going to be bugs. I don't want bugs flying in and disturbing us in our sleep.
Bugs.
And so there are two, for those of you interested in car camping, there are two things that I truly recommend. One of which is a net that you can put over the door. You can open the window. The other is rechargeable small fan that allows airflow in the vehicle. So those are like really two things for car camping.
And you didn't have either one of those.
No, because So a lot of the time when I go car camping, one, I'm by myself. I'm by myself in the car, and two, I'm in Idaho and I'm up. I'm not in a place that's as warm as Glens Ferry, as central Idaho is. And so like for me, like it doesn't even occur to me that I need to have the windows open. It doesn't need to occur, like whatever, because I'm just like, oh no. I mean, I'm up in the mountains where even in July, it's like getting down to like 40 degrees. So I'm like, I'm good.
Well, it's Miranda. I kept telling Miranda it's so hot, and she goes, "It's fine. It's not too bad." And then like I think the last time I said it is really hot in here, and she's like, "It's not too bad." And like a minute later, she goes, "It is hot."
I finally caught up.
Like, it is 20 degrees hotter. I mean, to the point that throughout our road trip, I was trying to figure out why was it so hot. That this is just to an aside. I had to research why does it get hotter in a car than it was, because it was really cooler outside the vehicle. Then learning about like greenhouse gases. This is for the nerd side of me. That when the sun's rays can penetrate the glass, heats the inside, but then the upholstery absorbs the sun's rays, and then it releases ultraviolet heat, and the ultraviolet heat cannot escape through the windows, and it stays in the car, essentially creating like an oven. And so that's why it's hot. But because of like, I've never had a desire to research why our car is hotter than outside until that moment, because I just want everyone to know it was so hot. That car.
It was so hot.
Crystal, I'm getting the feeling, I don't know if they've emphasized this at all, but I get the feeling it was hot in that car. Starting to get this impression that very well might have been. Well, there's two pieces of gear of the day. Let's we're going to have to scoot through Boise so we get to the halfway point, guys. But you go from there then to Boise, Idaho, which is a city. I went to a conference there a year and a half ago, and it was amazing. It was a fantastic city. I loved it. Jason, was that your first time in Boise?
No, it's actually my third or fourth time in Boise. The first time was in another road trip, and the most recent or last time I was keynoting an event, a financial literacy event held by like the Idaho Financial Organization out there. But I hadn't been there for a while, even though I had been in Boise in other parts. I hadn't been in Boise until this time around.
Such a cool city.
It's a great city.
What did you do in Boise?
So Boise does their Pride Festival. They do their Pride Festival in September. So they just happened to be having their Pride Festival that same weekend. And I had some of my friends, and actually a couple of them were people that Jason had met on previous trips. And so they had been planning to go to Pride. And so I just messaged Jason. I was like, well, how do you feel about just like getting an Airbnb with my friends? And we all just do Pride that weekend before we head. So yeah.
Awesome.
It was a cool experience. And so Boise, again, cool town. The Pride Festival was awesome. That was my first. And it was just a lot of love and joy and things like that. And just, I love these like mid-tier cities, right? They're not too big. They're not too small. And it's like, everything's pretty walkable. It has all the different types of food that you want to eat. And I love that.
Yeah, the walkability was what got me, Jason. It feels like a much smaller population center than it truly is. Yeah, fantastic.
Hey,
all right, and then from Boise, you were off to Portland.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. All right. We're going to pause there, guys, because of the gear of the day. I forgot to tell people, Crystal, at the beginning what gear of the day is, because we switched parts this morning.
We were so excited.
Well, yes, and I obviously, Crystal does this part every morning. It was my time to do it, and I blew it. I blew my line. So let's be real. Most travel gear out there is just plain awful, and that's why we have our gear of the day at the end of each episode. But here at the midway point, we take a pit stop, just like Jason and Miranda are taking a pit stop now for the FinCon conference halfway through their wandering road trip. So the cool thing about our gear of the day, these pieces have actually been used either by us or they come recommended from fellow adventurers. Since Crystal and I started the show just over a year ago, we've seen so much absolutely horrible ideas for travel gear.
Yeah.
Stuff people buy, they put in their pack, and it just takes up room. You don't use it. It's rotten. So that's why you'll find our gear of the day at stackingadventures.com/GOTD or stackingadventures.com/gear of the day. When buy it through us, not only do you get better gear and the right gear, which saves you money, but you also help the show. So Jason, you've got the gear of the day today. So here on our pit stop, What's our hit, my friend?
It helps when you're feeling, or when you're.
Okay.
A portable fan that's rechargeable.
For the car.
That's my guess.
It helps when you're... Helps when you what?
It helps when you're drained.
I think I know what it might be, but I'm not sure I should guess.
All right, well, hold on.
Hold on.
Let's take a break and we'll get Crystal's guess. And then we will get Miranda's guess. But Jason's not going to share it till the end of the show. But we get to hear these. Well, hold on. Well, then think about it during the break, Crystal.
Okay.
All right, Crystal. Jason said that it helps when you're drained. I said it is a portable rechargeable fan because
I think it's a flask. It's got to be a flask.
What Crystal brings to every Stacking Adventures recording, her flask.
Get the flask out of mommy's purse.
Speaking of, when we were visiting my daughter in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Crystal, we went to this local tavern and we're eating dinner there. And I look at the beer menu. They have all of these local brews, and I love some of the names of these brews. But my favorite beer on the menu was called Mommy's Helper.
I love it.
Super beer.
All
right, Miranda, what do you think it is?
I think it's a solar-powered power bank. Phone.
Bradley, in the comments, he guessed phone charger.
Bradley thinks a phone charger as well. Well, guess what, everybody? Jason's not going to tell us until the end of the show. There it is. All right. So you get to the halfway point. You get to see Crystal and I, which I'm sure was the height of your entire trip. But we'll skip all that.
We did a lot of walking.
We did a lot of walking.
Miranda.
Yeah. And we did run out to Cannon Beach because we got there early enough that like Ashley Barnett and JD Roth and the two of us went out to Cannon Beach. Went out to the coast, which was great. So
can we take just a second? We did a couple things in downtown Portland. We were at the convention center, and downtown Portland was absolutely beautiful. The restaurants that we ate at were fantastic. Like it was really cool. So when I'm hearing about this war going on, I don't want to make this a political show. I didn't see a war. I did see a lot of homeless people, which is an issue a lot of big cities have. And we haven't dealt with that issue. Just downtown Portland was really cool. I don't know if you guys spent much time downtown.
Oh, yeah. I loved
Portland.
We walked.
It was really amazing.
We walked.
Yeah,
even at night.
Late at night. Along the water.
Yep.
Just beautiful. And by the way, the train system, whatever it's called, that goes through Portland, made it super easy to get everywhere. Like if you go to Portland, I don't know how much you'd need a car. From the airport, it costs just a couple dollars.
Yeah, I took it from the airport.
Yeah, I did too.
It drops you off right in front of the convention center.
It was literally at the front door of our hotel.
Yeah,
it was cool. It was right there.
$2.
It's a greatly designed city when it comes to public transportation, and that light rail system that goes to all the different sections. I think it's worth it. So there's one thing I do want to say, Joe. You mentioned about the food and how the
we haven't talked food yet.
Good.
So the one thing I have to say, and I didn't know this, but our friend JD mentioned that no one knows this, or not many people know it, that Portland is known for its pizza. Because I am somewhat of a pizza connoisseur, being from Jersey, I have a very specific
Chicago. I am
again
New York style
bragging.
Deep dish.
So I went, and this is actually before I ran into you, Joe, at one of the Lacey's event at the bar. I stopped at a pizza joint across Powell's, and I wanted to go check my book at the Powell's bookstore. But there's a pizza joint that was like filled with people. And so there's like the best thin slice. So I went there. It was delicious. And it's true that they have some of the best pizza. And I've eaten pizza in many places, and I always get disappointed. But I wasn't disappointed with this hole in the wall pizza joint that was brimming with people. And that pizza was delicious and it was affordable.
Nice.
Whoa.
Same. Yeah, we went to a place that was on Triple D on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And it was another hole-in-the-wall looking place, but that food, like, I was like, hey, you're going to finish that? Hey, are you going to finish that? Like, I finished a lot of other people's food.
We into Portland also has a lot of people do know this, being so close to the ocean, fantastic seafood. And we went to the last night, just a very chill seafood restaurant downtown, which was amazing. Great service.
Jason can attest. Anytime I go anywhere where I can get good seafood, it's all seafood all the time.
It's so good.
So good.
Oh yeah.
Living in a state that's not that doesn't have any bodies of oceans attached to it, like Miranda has mentioned, she will take advantage of the seafood when she is near a coast.
Our friend Andy said, of course, something else Portland's known for is the donut scene.
Yeah,
you get too many donuts. So good stuff. All right, let's take off out of Portland. So this isn't a 9-hour show because you have a whole Oregon side of this trip. Miranda, where did you go next?
Well, so Jason has a friend down in Grants Pass. And so we actually drove down to Grants Pass and stayed in their beautiful guest house. It was very generous of them.
What is Grants Pass? How far away is Grants Pass from Portland?
It's like a 6-hour drive.
It's a 4-hour drive.
4-hour drive. Sorry, it took us longer because we stopped at Silver Springs State Park, which was actually very nice. Silver Springs State Park was gorgeous. Can
we talk about the state park first? Because we went to a state park. We went to Something Rock. Somebody's going to get it. Sadly, I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but I'll look it up. But anyway, it's this big, beautiful rock. Fantastic state park. But what's Silver Springs?
Waterfalls.
Oh. Cool.
Lots of waterfalls.
Lots of waterfalls. So yeah, and it was beautiful, wooded. Yeah. Waterfalls. Lots of waterfalls.
Yeah, I think originally when we had planned the road trip after Portland, we were going to go do the gorge, the Columbia Gorge.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people go. And there are beautiful waterfalls there as well. And since we were going to go south, we decided to do a state park instead of a national monument. And I think to a testament, Miranda is really big on supporting the state park system. She has like passes in Idaho. And so whenever I get the opportunity as well, I like to explore state parks, right? I love national parks, but I also like to explore state parks. And so that was really a treat because we were able to hike for a few hours, much longer than we thought we anticipated. And I think, Miranda, if you can correct me, we saw 7 or 8 waterfalls?
Yeah, I think we saw 8. Like if you do the full trail, you can see like 10 or something. But I think we saw 8. And maybe only 7. I don't know. There were waterfalls. It was pretty. I was not sad.
Wow. So Silver Falls State Park, I'm pulling it up right now.
Is it Silver Falls or Silver Springs? I don't know. Whatever.
I think I've got Lower South Falls, South Falls. It looks like it's near Salem.
Yes. I think it's near the last stop on the Oregon Trail. It's somewhere in that area.
We spent a lot of time along the Oregon Trail on this trip. We have lots of trail marker pictures.
Did you get dysentery?
No.
Okay, random.
Well, it's really interesting, right? Because
it's part of the game, Crystal. Have you ever played the game?
You have died of dysentery.
Crystal has no idea my random dysentery.
Stop saying that word.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because throughout this whole process, as Miranda mentioned, we would take lots of pictures and a lot of the signposts. Because if not, people aren't familiar, there is a game called Oregon Trail, and so if you have played it, have not heard of it, it really is iconic. And so one of the key things, and I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, it's like once we returned from the road trip, I looked at Miranda and I said, "Hey, you survived."
You survived the Oregon Trail.
And we weren't trampled by an ox or had like our tire.
We didn't die of cholera.
Yeah.
No. Bitten by a snake. Yeah, good stuff. So Silver Falls, fantastic. Got to visit some friends. Miranda got to meet Jason's friends. Where did we go from Silver Falls?
So this was my part of the journey. So Miranda planned the first segment. I hastily planned the second. So
you did great. It was wonderful.
I got to pick and choose like where we were going. So for me, I just need an idea, and then we can kind of make our way there. So after Grants Pass, we went to Crater Lake National Park, which is amazing.
Oh my God.
I've never been. Miranda's
never been.
Yeah. So it's been our first, it was both our first time, and it was not a disappointment. The lake was beautiful, and the blue skies with the clouds, it was just picture perfect. And we were able to kind of explore that for a bit. So I'm not sure if you both have been.
Well, let's spend a few minutes because just a couple of weeks ago we talked about, Cheryl and I, friends flew in at the end of FinCon and we went down the Oregon coast into wine country, but then we went to Crater Lake. So I'd love to kind of compare what you did and liked at Crater Lake versus what people heard about our trip. So when you're there, it's funny because I was like, it's a lake, big deal. But there totally is so many different things that you can do at Crater Lake. And at the end of the day, I could see myself going back and having, completely different adventures. So what did you guys see when you were at Crater Lake, and how far away did you stay, by the way? Because for us, we stayed fairly close, but it's a good hour, as you know. Once you hit the sign that says you're at Crater Lake, there's another half hour to get up to the lake. So how close did you stay, and how long were you able to spend, and what did you see?
So we stayed in Grants Pass in my former CEO / friend's guest carriage.
Oh, so you had quite a drive to get there.
Yeah, it was about an hour and a half, but it probably took us about 2 hours, right? Because as you mentioned, once you get to your welcome to Crater Lake National Park, it's still a bit of a drive, and it's a winding road. And for me, and I'll let Miranda talk, but for me, I love staring at bodies of water and mountains. That is my moment of like Zen. And so when you travel with me, I love these moments, and Miranda enjoys it too. I'm hopefully not speaking out of turn here, but like typically what I do is I go and I turn on my meditation app. So we'll sit there and close our eyes and just kind of hear the sounds of nature and the guided meditation and just soak in the scenery. And so we're those two weirdos like meditating, like stare with our eyes closed, like in this beautiful vista. Nice. But that's only about 10 minutes. So for me, that was memorable because that's just how I'm able to be present and in that moment, aside from like the hiking and going around that lake.
You have these wonderful views from different parts of the lake, though. So I'm wondering where you meditated at, because if you're down there by the visitor center and the Rim Lodge, I mean, it's a beautiful place there. As you look north, you've got the Wizard Island in the middle of the, off to the left. But then in the distance, you've got what's called Diamond Peak that looks like a wizard's hat, right? Way off in the distance. But if you're north of it, you get this cool then view of the whole southern vista of and the mountain range behind the lake that way. Like, where did you meditate from?
So we were at that north side. So we were close to where you can hike up on the peak and see the Wizard Island off to the left. Yeah. So that's where we were at. But it was beautiful. And we were kind of disappointed because we got there and it was the last day they were doing the boat tours, and the boat tours were all full up.
You got there a day before we got there the day after the boat tours. Yeah.
So we just missed each other.
Oh, wow.
We did. We were there day after you were there.
That's funny.
Yeah. That's wild. But we had heard from many people that had been there the day before. We talked to one couple who had booked it like 4 months earlier, 5 months earlier.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Who was able to do it. Did you still walk down to the lake? Because for people that don't know, Crater Lake is this caldera that's filled up with water. That's kind of why it's so blue, is because it's just snow melt. It doesn't feed from anything. It's just, I think this is one of the snowy places, if not the snowiest place in the lower 48 states. And, but we didn't go down to the lake because it just seemed like there was no point. But it's quite a hike down from the caldera down to the lake.
Yeah, it's like a mile. It's like a mile-long hike, and it's supposed to be very steep. We didn't do that either, but we did decide that we would like to go back and stay in the lodge and like hike, because you can do the hike. You can hike up the mountain, and we were like, let's go hike up the mountain. And then we looked and we were like, there's rain coming in. Like maybe not. Maybe we need to just get on with our day.
So not the tallest peak, Scott. The one at the south side, Garfield, right off the...
That's the one we were looking at, is Garfield.
Yeah, like the trail goes right from there. That's the one, Crystal, that I was telling you about ours. We did climb that.
Oh, nice.
And it was beautiful. But even climbing only part way up, like there's no bad view. I mean, you just keep climbing and climbing, and you're like, the hits just keep coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? Because from every angle, as you mentioned, it's just an amazing view. And I took like 100 photos. After a while, like I've gotten every single angle possible. And I remember seeing a chipmunk like perched up on like a dead tree staring. And I was like, look, it's staring at the view as well. So here I am staring at the chipmunk, staring at the view. And
that's funny.
It is just, it's those moments, right? And I think it's important for people like, to go out there in nature, I think, and just kind of like look at the view. It's kind of one of those, they call it's land snorkeling, where there is no destination, where sort of like when you're snorkeling out in the water, you're just kind of looking at the view. You're looking at fish, the coral. There's no destination. You're just there. And that's pretty much what we did. So we did some hiking, but not any of the major hikes, because when we did look at that big, when we wanted to do one of the mountain hikes, or like, okay, that might be a few hours. When we looked at doing the hike down to the water, we were just like you, Joe. Well, maybe that's not worth it this time around.
I know. If there was a boat going down there, fine.
Well, no, they learned their lesson from the kayak. They're like, our arms actually still hurt. Just looking at it.
You know me too well, Crystal.
We could see from up high, by the way, when we got close to that, we just, from one of the many, many overlooks, we could look down on people that were down there by where the boats had launched until the day before when you were there. And people were jumping in the lake. And I've read everywhere that lake's freezing ass cold. Why would you jump in?
Because you can.
Because you can.
There you go.
Yes.
So I live in Idaho. All of the lakes that I swim in are freezing ass cold. Whatever, man.
Yeah.
There you go.
Seriously, like glacier fed lakes, the thing. I've even swam in Jenny Lake in the Tetons before. That's
freezing cold.
That's cold. That's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's funny, Jason, just like you, I took like 87,000 pictures. And I remember my son was the one that told Cheryl and I that we had to go. And so we, but he showed me 57 pictures and I went, it's a lake. Okay, it's great. And then I go there and I'm showing my buddy Mike all these pictures and he's looking at me like, it's a lake.
Same thing.
Okay. I think you got to be there because nobody goes Crater Lake. Nobody does that.
Yeah, you have to be there. And I think for me, the lesson that I learned is plan ahead and see if we could stay in the lodge. The
lodge is beautiful.
It's beautiful. I mean, when you go in there and you see the big fireplace and people in the rocking chairs staring at the fire, it's a fake fire, right? It's like gas powered fire.
But who cares?
It's an experience. And then when you walk out the balcony, you see the lake. And one of the things that I know, I've been to about 24 national parks, is that there are very few national parks before it was outlawed building like these places to stay within the park itself. And so Crater Lake is one of those places that still has its old time, like whatever, inn and lodge to stay at. So next time around, Miranda and I have talked about it, that we definitely wanted to stay in there, spend a few days.
And do nothing.
And do nothing.
Yes.
Stare at the water in the mountains.
Yeah. And then go in and stare at the fireplace and bring like a book.
Oh God. Yeah. Yes.
Perfect
100%.
Perfect place to just go read a novel. All right. So you leave Crater Lake. We're going to say goodbye to Crater Lake. Where do we go now?
Painted Hills, which was shocking to me because I don't think of Oregon as a place that has like colors, right? Like I went to school in southern Utah and, red rocks, blah, 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 everywhere. Right. And I love that. And you don't think of Oregon as a place that's going to have these colors, these vibrant, gorgeous reds and oranges. Like you don't think that you're going to find that in Oregon, but the Painted Hills were very painted.
Wow. Well, and to get to the Painted Hills, I'm looking on a map because I don't know where these places are. So you go Crater Lake north up through Bend, which was this city I'd never been to, beautiful city, but it starts to get deserty there. And then in Painted Hills, you're squarely, it looks like, in the desert.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I wanted to visit the John Day Fossil Beds National Monument. And so I love dinosaurs. I love seeing fossils in rocks specifically. And so that was my goal, was to be able to make it to the John Day Fossil National Monument. But because of the time we spent at Crater Lake, we weren't able to go into the deeper part of the John, and then part of that was part of the John Day fossil bed is the Painted Hills. So that's one of the areas of this national monument. So we got the opportunity to go there first, because that's like, when you look at the map, that's kind of the first area. It's a bit off from the main highway, but definitely worth it if you want to see some colors. We got there on right at sunset. So when you get that golden hour hitting all these different layers of colors, it's magical, and it was just amazing.
Is Painted Hills then, is it a state park?
It is part of the national monument, the John
It's
Day
a national monument. Okay.
Yeah. Well, part of
gotcha.
the national monument. Okay. Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And man, just these colors. I'm looking and I'm trying to show everybody on the
God. It's gorgeous. It's just, yeah, like I said, it was not something that I expected to see in Oregon.
Not even nature. On my radar.
That's even, wow.
Yeah. And there, you can get really up close to some of the hills, and there are pathways. So it is accessible to those who have mobility issues. So I think that's great. And then you're able to kind of learn, like, why are these clay things yellow, or why is it red? Why is it this color? And so there's some like history stuff on there. And again, it's just experiencing that piece was just really nice. But it is off the beaten path, like in terms of when you're looking at road trips. And it just so happened at this point of our journey, we wanted to make our way closer and closer to Idaho Falls. And as this part of the road trip, I wanted to see some really cool spots. So that gave us a final destination, head back to Idaho Falls. And for me, it was like, let's look at all these really cool spots along the way that perhaps Miranda hasn't been to.
Which is very, very cool.
That is
and then
cool.
I think you hit one more, right?
Yeah. Well, so we camped outside the Painted Hills. We went ahead and camped again.
Was it cooler?
It was very much cooler. We had bought a fan on the way, though. We bought a fan along the way, and then we ended up not needing it. But
and by the way, Crystal, their fan's name is Bill. He's a huge fan. Sorry.
Anyway, the fan is now just residing in my car so that it's ready. So it's ready to go. But yeah, no, we did end up camping, and we got to see, because by this time the moon was pretty much done, right? We had a pretty close to new moon. It was at one of those stages. And so then we're just out here in the middle of nowhere in Oregon, and stars. We lay there, just like, we just got our chairs out, and we were just looking at the stars.
Stargazing.
It was interesting, right? Because as I'm driving, Miranda is looking up and she goes, I think it's going to be a really clear night. And I go, it's kind of cloudy. And she goes, yeah, I think it is kind of cloudy, but it's going to clear up. And I'm like, oh, that's great. So we get in really late. I think it's past 10 or past 9 o'clock.
It was close to 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Close to 10 at this state park. And so we're going to camp at the state park. So once we were able to do the self check-in and all that, we found our spot. We're sitting, now we're making sandwiches. I look up and I'm like, it is kind of cloudy. And then I look down and I'm like, wait a minute. That's not clouds. That's the Milky Way galaxy. So
it's incredible.
It was just incredible. I mean, I've seen the Milky Way galaxy once before, a really long time ago, but I have never seen it that clear without any telescope, without any binoculars. And I was just so amazed on how it lit up the night sky, and it looked just like what you see in the photos, the different colors, the different hues, and just the number of stars all gathered together. I mean, it was so beautiful.
Wow.
And so Miranda looked at me, she's like, you want to just take out the foldable chairs and just like sit there and stare at it?
Yes.
And so, we
100%.
did just that. We sat there, and as we're like staring at this beautiful like canvas of stars, we both go, whoa, and at the same time. And that had to do, we saw the biggest shooting star. I mean, it was the biggest shooting star I have ever seen. It was directly on top of us. And I saw a few more after that, but that was the biggest.
Wow.
And it was just the perfect way to kind of camp. And I mean, that was one of my highlights, one of my memorable moments.
Oh man, that's special.
It was.
We stayed in Klamath Falls, just south of Crater Lake, at an Airbnb right on the lake. And after we got back from the day at Crater Lake, just went out on the back porch, and there's almost no light there. And Jason, to your point, the sky just looks dirty, just like it is just a mess. Like, I mean, talk about realizing how insignificant we are.
Yeah. That's true.
Just when there's so many systems that you can't pick out one, and the sky has gone from black to brown because there's just a pile of stars on top of each other. So many that I can't can't make them out. It's crazy. That sounds incredible. I've only had that view myself a couple times during my life, and I could just talk about meditation. I could just sit out there and wow.
Oh yeah. Zone out.
And I'm really lucky because I do get to actually see it several times a year, because in Idaho we have 2 dark sky preserves. One is Craters of the Moon, which we'll talk about here in a minute, and then the other one is City of Rocks, and those are both dark sky preserves. And so I actually really enjoy getting to go out and see those and see it. And I have a special spot where I go actually when there's like a celestial type event, right? Like the comet or whatever, or when you've got a meteor shower. I have a spot that I go out just 20 minutes west of town, where I just go out to the spot. I kind of go off this dirt road, go up on this tiny little hill, and just like set out my chair and watch whatever celestial event is going on. Like, this is why I live in Idaho. And people are like, why do you live in Idaho? And I'm like, this is why I live in Idaho.
That's awesome.
Fantastic. All right. We're bringing it home, guys. Speaking of, so next up then, this national monument that I've wanted to go to for a long time. I remember when I ran a marathon, not far from you, Miranda, in Pocatello, we were going to go to this next place, but we couldn't make it work. So, but you go to what crater, is it called Crater of the Moon?
Craters of the Moon.
And it's called that because it looks like the moon.
It looks like you could be out on a lunar surface. Yeah. So it is. So Craters of the Moon is literally one of my very favorite places in the world. I go at least twice a year, sometimes 3 or 4 times a year. I like to go in the spring when the wildflowers are out. And then, like, seriously, if you want to come in June, come visit me in June and we'll go out and see the wildflowers. But no, it's just this beautiful desolation. It's just this absolutely beautiful desolation. You get out there and it is desolate. And there's this area, which I actually need to take you to next time, Jason, called Devil's Orchard. It's just these weird, twisted, odd looking trees. That's why it's called Devil's Orchard, because some pastor went out there and was like, the devil's been here. But they're gorgeous. They're just, so it's just, the sun is now finally breaking through and just coming right into
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. There we go.
West Coast.
Anyway, so it's just this beautiful desolation. It's just, you're out there and the formations and the solitude and Jason knows we got out of this cave and he went to yell and it just swallows the sound. And so it's just this, and it's where I go when my favorite uncle died earlier this year, and I come back from Boise by Craters of the Moon all the time, and I stopped. That's what I do when I come back from Boise. I come the long way, which takes an extra 20 minutes, but you go by Craters of the Moon, and that's just where I go. That's just where I go. Like it's just. But it was funny because we're getting the trip was getting long. We're ready to get home. And Jason's like, oh, I don't know if we need to go to Craters of the Moon. And I was like, well, like it's only 20 extra minutes if we go the back way from Boise, and then we're not on the interstate, and it's such a prettier drive. He's like, okay, we can do that. So as we get closer, he's just like, well, what if we just pop in so I can get my he's like, what if we just pop in and I'll get my passport stamp from Craters of the Moon. So we do that. And so then we get back out to the car. He's like, what if we just drive through?
My friend Malcolm Miranda that we were traveling with, a couple of the stops along the coast, because we were going to have an 8-hour drive in the car that didn't include all of the stops, so we could get down to Crater Lake. He called all the stops Griswolding it.
I love it.
So Jason's saying that you're going to Griswold Crater of the Moon. Yeah. You're going to go Look to the right, the middle, the left, get back in the car and head out.
But so then we start driving and he's just like, let's get out and walk. So anyway, we end up spending 5 hours at Craters of the Moon.
Wow.
So the first time I was in Craters of the Moon, never heard of it. And it was on one of my first road trips back in 2016. So Miranda was like, I got to take you to this place. So we went to Craters of the Moon. We hiked up one of the cones, and for seeing like the black sand and being on top of one of these like volcanic cones was just amazing. And so I've always wanted to go back. And the last time we tried going back last year, it was just snowed in. So we couldn't access the road. So we weren't able to go in. So this time around, it's like, let's do it. But, you know, just thinking about like the time that we spent on the road, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's just try to make it to Idaho Falls. We've done a lot and it's just time for us to kind of decompress. So when Miranda said we should take the pretty drive in, it's just an extra 20 minutes. I'm like, sure, because it's why drive in the highway when there's all these trucks when you could drive in a scenic route, right? And I think that is a lesson, and it's a lesson I need to remind myself often. It's not just about the speed of which to get someplace, it's about the scenic drive. And so avoiding the major highway for a more scenic drive, and it might just add an extra 10, 20 minutes to it. And so I was like, yeah, let's just Griswold it. And so, but every single viewpoint I was stopping. And so here I am stopping and just staring at these rock formations. And because, you know, it's lava and things like that. And eventually I said, let me just get my passport stamped. So I have a national park passport. And so I was like, let's just go in, get it stamped. And then eventually it's like, oh, why don't we go a little further in to the park? And eventually we did a number of hikes through the park. We explored a few lava tubes.
Yeah, so we did the cave.
Into the cave. So if you want to go into a cave, a lava tube, right? This is definitely the place. And as Miranda mentioned, once we completed Indian Tunnel, which is a much larger, longer cave system, we got out. I said, I just feel like I need to scream and yell. Because sometimes when I'm in the field, I just need to yell, get out all the tension. So scream from the top of my lungs. I did just that. And I look at Miranda and I go, there's no echo. Like,
where's my voice?
Yeah, it's like, where's my voice? Because
it just goes.
That lava just absorbed the sound, the lava rock.
Yeah, it just swallows it.
Yeah, really interesting. But it's definitely one of my favorite places, and it's back on the list of a place I want to stay overnight, maybe a couple of nights, to do much of the more of the longer hikes.
Yeah, so there's a really great hike that I've wanted to do for a while, but it's a one way, and so I've always done it from one end or the other, halfway, and then turned and gone back. And I'd like to do the full thing there and back, and so staying there would be a good way to do that. One thing I do want to note, though, if you do go to Craters of the Moon, so to protect the bats that live in the caves, they ask you need to get a permit to go and do the lava tubes. But they do ask that you not wear any clothing that might have been underground east of the Mississippi, because they don't want to bring the white nose. It's like a fungal thing.
Oh yeah.
And they don't want to bring that to our bats. We want to protect our bats. And so just make sure. So I actually have I basically have I'm like, okay, if I'm going to go to Craters of the Moon, I have specific things that I have and that wear, because like just washing them is not enough. So I just have specific things that I wear. When I go back east, there are certain shoes that I just leave behind because I want to make sure those shoes are still good for me to go to Craters of the Moon. So that's just something to keep in mind if you are a conservationist person who doesn't want to kill the bats.
They have the shoe brushes outside as well then?
No, because like literally
it doesn't do it.
It doesn't do it. Washing the clothes does not do it. Like they don't want you to have anything that's been underground east of the Mississippi.
Great reminder. Or first time for a lot of people.
Yeah, I never
to hear that. To hear that message. Well, guys, what a trip.
Yeah.
We did it.
I feel bad you didn't see anything.
Absolutely nothing.
Adventure Andy hanging out with us from the Inspired Money podcast. Go listen to and watch the Inspired Money podcast. You're on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, because it's fantastic. But his best star sighting The big island of Hawaii. Imagine that. That's why there's so many telescopes there, he says. The Milky Way looked incredible. I can't imagine.
Amazing.
I can't imagine. I haven't been to Hawaii yet, Andy, so.
Ooh, it's fun.
I got to find out. You love it, Crystal. I know. Crystal brags about Hawaii a lot.
I would love to go to the Big Island. I have not been to the Big Island. It's on my list of places I want to go.
That's awesome. All right. Before we say goodbye, adventures, time for our big gear of the day reveal. Yep. Jason, your hint was.
So it's what I need when I'm drained.
All right. So I thought it was the portable fan, which Miranda went and got. Crystal thought.
Slap in the face.
It was a slap in the face.
I thought it was a flask.
Right.
I remember because I have one of those.
Just for that boring meeting. And then Miranda thought it was.
Solar-powered power bank.
Battery charger.
Phone charger.
Right. Yeah. Power bank.
Phone charger. Yeah. Power bank.
Well, I got to go with that too then, Jason, because Miranda traveled with you. So if you love it.
It's you, the person.
Maybe that's what
the phone.
Is that what it is?
That's exactly what it is.
Oh.
My solar-powered battery pack.
Okay.
It is my tech gear of choice.
Solar.
I have done a bunch of different power banks, and this has been with me for 7 years. Traveled to Africa, traveled Asia, traveled the Middle East, transatlantic cruise. And the reason why I love it, it's because even if it's not charged, I forget to charge it, I could get enough juice by sunlight. So when it's exposed to sun, it will charge the bank. Yep, enough for me to be able to charge my phone. And it's pretty large. It's just under the amount that's legally allowed to bring with you on a plane. But it has served me quite well. And it served Miranda as well, because she was working in the car and she was able to use this to power pretty much
power the laptop,
workstation,
her office,
her office on the road,
her mobile office.
Now, I've got a question about it, Jason, because I took a little solar panel actually with a cord that would hook up to my power bank. So I could, when we were hiking in Nepal, I would unfold this thing. It looked like just a book. It's about the size of a book, and you unfold it, you put it in an open area. So in the afternoon, you just get the sun. But I'll tell you, this thing didn't make much power. The one that I bought maybe was the wrong one. How do you find, how quickly does it charge the power bank?
So if you're going to try to charge that entire power bank through sun, it's going to take forever.
Yeah.
The reason why I like it, this particularly will charge a laptop, an iPad, and 2 phone chargers. So it is really powerful. And the other part is that, so for me, it's not so much like I need to be able to run everything on here, but just in the event that my phone dies, I need to be able to charge up that phone, right, if I need service.
Sure.
And so the ability, especially when I go off the grid, the ability to charge the power bank, if it's dead, it probably would take like a few minutes, but that's better than nothing. A few minutes by 30 minutes before it starts charging my cell phone. And that has happened to me. It's happened to me when I visited Jordan, where my phone died because it was overheating, and I was able to charge using the sunlight and charge the phone, so not to miss my transfer. So it definitely does work.
I was able to recharge mine because my phone died maybe 3 days into the trip, and then I had to start, so I had 2 different chargers. I went through the next charger in the next day and a half of power, and then just taking pictures and having the phone out, listening to podcasts and stuff like that. And then I got enough charge from the sun every day then to be able to snap some pictures and keep it off the rest of the day. So that's super cool. You got to tell us which kind you've got offline, and then Crystal will add it to the Gear of the Day store. Thanks for sharing, man.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
And
all right,
Miranda and
adventures.
Jason, thanks for sharing the whole thing.
Thanks for having us on.
That's Miranda and Jason's story adventure. So what about your story? We want to hear your Idaho adventures and your Oregon adventures. You heard Miranda and Jason's Oregon adventure. You heard mine a couple weeks ago. Tell us about your time in Oregon. So, Crystal, how do people do that?
You head over to stackingadventures.com/mystory. You can record up to 5 minutes. And if you exhaust your 5 minutes because it felt like you were only talking for 2 seconds, record another one. We want to hear you. So stackingadventures.com/mystory.
Awesome. And I know, Miranda and Jason, you guys are creators. And so we'd also love to know what the heck you're working on right now. Miranda?
I'm working on a doctorate in political science. That's what I'm working on.
Well, I would say that's creation right there.
That is.
So you can find me mirandamarquardt.com. Or just Instagram at mmarquardt is probably where I post most of my like adventure type things because, even if I'm not out roaming wherever, one of the things I like to say is I can drive an hour in any direction here in Idaho and come to something very cool. And so so I put a lot of my camping, a lot of my hiking, a lot of that kind of stuff up on Instagram.
Miranda's always fun to follow. And you're right.
Yes.
A lot of beautiful places that are within just a quick driving distance, apparently, because you always have them on your Instagram. Jason, what are you working on right now, my friend?
So the major thing I'm working on, I'm still working on the financial wellness piece at frugal.com, but in tandem with that, I'm producing a docuseries that's 8 episodes long that connects money and adventures together. I could share this with you. It has to do with jumping out of planes, kayaking, while we're having financial conversations. So my whole goal is to get people out into the world and see what being financially free means, right? Not necessarily financial independence, but allowing ourselves to be and live financially free.
That's amazing. I'm excited.
I wish these guys had something going on, Crystal.
They're so lazy.
I know. All right, that's going to do it, adventure. Share your story, as Crystal said, stackingadventures.com/mystory. And for the gear of the day,
go to stackingadventures.com/GOTD.
All right. On behalf of Miranda and Jason, she's Crystal.
And I'm Joe. He's Joe.
Keep
Joe.
Keep adventuring. I don't know. Somebody's Joe.
Thanks for listening, everybody.